Good evening, one and all present here. Welcome to the Aussizz Talk Show. Today, we'll be discussing about NSW, Victoria, and Western Australia nomination updates. So, first, let me introduce Aussizz Group. We have been in the industry for the past 15 years and helped over 200,000 plus clients achieve their goal in Australia. We have 40 plus branches across the globe, and we have team of multiple Mara agents across Australia who are always ready to help you out with your migration and education queries. Now, let me introduce to you today's speaker, Ms. Sanya Shah. She is a highly experienced migration agent with Aussizz Group. With years of expertise in migration, Sanya has helped countless individuals navigate their migration journey successfully. Today, she will be sharing valuable insights on NSW, Victoria, and Western Australia state invites. Let's give her a warm welcome.
Thank you, Advait, for the introduction. Yeah, I'll just share my screen, guys.
Sanya, I guess you're on mute.
All good?
Can hear you.
Yes. Sorry, guys. Yeah. All good. So today we are here to discuss about the most popular states, that is NSW, Victoria, and Western Australia nomination pathways. As you know, that everyone is quite stressed out because of the new NSW list that they released for the last week. But we are here for you to let you know about the new migration pathways. Like if NSW is not your state, then we can guide you through the other states, that is Victoria and Western Australia. So now to start with, I'll just keep the presentation quite brief so that we have plenty of time to discuss the question and answer round so that we can guide you through your questions and queries. So to start with the first state, that is NSW. So as you know, there are two subclasses, 190 and 491. So for the 190, the requirements are pretty simple. That is, for the onshore, your occupation must be listed on the new NSW skills list, and you must be currently living and residing in NSW and have continuously done for the past 6 months. And for offshore, your occupation must be on the list same, but you must be residing offshore for the past 6 months. Now, if we go for the 491 pathway 1, this time NSW has introduced three pathways. That is pathway 1 for those people who are living and working in regional area for the past 6 months. Now, last year, the requirement of living and working were there, but this year they have removed the requirement of living and they have just said that you just have to work in a regional NSW, which means if you're living in Sydney, then you can just work for a regional NSW, that is, for example, Wollongong or Newcastle, and work there for last 6 months and with the same employer continuously and paid a minimum of dismissed salary, that is 73,150 at the time of application. So this time they have introduced the requirement of dismissed at the time of application, which means the salary level must be met when you lodge the nomination application. So now for the second pathway, it's the same like last time, but they have introduced the new NSW regional skills list. That is, your occupation must be listed on the regional skills list, plus you need to be residing in NSW or offshore for the past 3 months. So you can even live in Sydney and apply for this pathway. And if you are invited, then only you have to move to a regional area. So this is for the pathway 2. Now we come for the pathway 3, that is the NSW Regional Graduate Pathway. This is a new pathway that NSW has introduced this time. For those people who have completed their bachelor's degree or higher from a regional NSW institution and who have completed their degree within the last 2 years. So you need to make sure that your course completion was within the last 2 years, because we have a lot of clients who have completed degree from regional NSW, but it was before the 2 years plan. Now, second criteria under this is that your occupation must be on the regional NSW list and you must be residing for 3 months in NSW. And also, you must be able to claim your regional points in your EUI, which means that you have to be living and studying in regional NSW. Then only you can be eligible for the Pathway 3. So, if you're living in Sydney and studying for a Wollongong University, that's not allowed because you have to be living and studying in a regional NSW. Now, going for the second state, that is Victoria. As you have seen that Victoria have been consistently inviting people, and this was their fourth or fifth invitation round for this financial year. So this state is quite promising for people getting invitations for all the states. Like they do not have a specific occupation list, but they have like all the occupations are open for them, which are listed on 190 and 491 federal list. Now, for 190, the residency is that you must be living in Victoria. There is no minimum requirement of living, unlike NSW, but you just have to be living in Victoria. And exceptions are made on case by case basis for those who are on border communities. Now, for employment, there is no requirement to be employed to be eligible for this visa, which means that even if you do not work and if you're just living in Victoria, you can still apply for 190. However, they are going to give more priority to those people who are working there. But the good thing about Victoria is that you do not have to be working in your nominated occupation, which means that you can work in any skill level 1, 2, or 3 job. What do you mean by this is that, for example, I'm an accountant. I moved to Victoria and I didn't find a job in accounting. But I found a job as a cook or a chef or a restaurant manager or even a retail manager at a petrol pump. Then I can still claim those earnings in Victoria and I can still go ahead for 190. They will still consider that. And we have seen people getting invited with this pathway as well. So that's a good thing about Victoria 190. Now going for 491, even Victoria has introduced a new 491 pathway for the graduates, for the Victorian graduates for this financial year, which means that if you are a graduate from Victorian Education Institution and you are currently holding a for subclass 500 visa or a temporary graduate visa, that is 485 visa, then you are eligible for Victorian nomination for the skilled work regional 491 visa. What do you mean by this? If, for example, if you have recently graduated even from Melbourne, not from a regional Victoria, then still you are eligible for this pathway and you are exempt from the requirement of the regional employment, which means that 491 Victoria has compulsory requirement of living and working in regional Victoria region. So for this, for example, if you have completed your studies from Melbourne, then you can apply under 491 with your skills assessment and claim your earnings as zero in the ROI, which means you are exempted from the regional employment requirement. Now, for all others, for onshore, all other visa holders who have not graduated from Victoria, your requirement is that you must be living in a regional Victoria and you must be working in a skill employment, that is skill level 1, 2, or 3 for any employer who are physically present in Victoria. So the same thing goes for this. Like if you are an IT graduate and if you are working as a accountant or if you're working as a retail manager in any of the company, then you can still apply for the 491 because that occupation falls under the skill level 1, 2, or 3. So this was all for Victoria. Now we go for the Western Australia skill nominated visa. Yesterday itself, we got an invitation round for Western Australia. So we have also seen a consistent invitation round with WA, like approximately every month. So yesterday's round was quite good as compared to the last few rounds that we had. Now going to the requirements. Now the first stream is the general stream, that is the schedule 1. What are the requirements over here is that your occupation must be listed on the schedule 1 list, and you for example, if your occupation is listed under the schedule 1 list, then you need to have a minimum of 1 year of relevant work experience in the past 10 years. It can be either Australian or overseas, but it has to be minimum of 20 hours per week. So generally, the occupations which are listed under Schedule 1 are nurses, pharmacists, enroll nurse, etc. So for that, you require at least 1 year of relevant work experience to be eligible. And also, if you want to be considered for 190, then you need to demonstrate a contract of employment from a Western Australian employer for the next 6 months. So first they will issue you an invitation and then they will give you 28 days to provide an employment contract. So you still get 28 days to give an employment contract to the Western Australia government. But if you are considering 491, you don't require any contract of employment. Now, if we go for Schedule 2 General Stream, this is for all those occupations which are listed under Schedule 2. Good thing over here is you don't require a work experience to be eligible for this. It's just that your occupation must be listed under Schedule 2. However, if you want to be considered for 190, you require, once you are invited, then you require a contract of employment, a full-time contract of employment with 35 hours plus week for the next 6 months. However, if you want to be considered for 491, then you don't require any employment contract. And they have also given an exemption to all building and construction sector occupation that you don't require any employment contract for 190 or 491. So I would suggest that all the construction industry, all the construction occupation or the building occupation are actually moving to Western Australia because of this requirement that they don't require to demonstrate any contract of employment. It's just that if you have good points, you have very good chances of getting invited from Western Australia, even for 190. Now the third stream is for the graduate stream. So this is for those applicants who have completed their studies from Western Australian accredited university, and the study was for the total 2 years face to face. So online studies are not accepted, and it has to be total 2 years. So you can also sum up two studies together, but it has to be 2 years of full time face to face study. And after that, you must have been studied from an accredited WA institution and you meet the qualification criteria. And thirdly, your occupation must be listed and you don't require any employment contract for this stream. So, if you are planning to study or move states for studying a new course, Western Australia is a very good stream, good state to move because you will be eligible for a graduate stream after completing it. So this is just an overview for what we discussed about Western Australia, that is for Schedule 1, Schedule 2 and Graduate Stream. As you can see that for 491 subclass and for Graduate Stream, you don't require any employment contract or work experience. It's just for the Schedule 1 that you require the work experience to go for. Now, as I told you, as I promised that the session would be very short, yes, for the presentation, but now we would be answering your questions. So you guys can feel free to pop up your questions and I would try to answer as many questions as we could. So just a moment. Yeah. Yep. So the first question is from AU that I have 85 plus 5 points, computer network and systems engineer, 4 years experience, PT, partner points, working in different field right now, salary 100K plus. What would be my chances as next round of Victoria? So definitely a very good chance for you to get an invite in the next round because we have seen that IT people have been getting invited in Victoria round. And if you have a salary above 100K, that is going to be a priority. And also your English is, if your English is superior, then that is also one of the priority attribute for Victoria. So definitely a very good chance for you to move to Victoria and secure an invite. However, your occupation is also open in NSW. So if you are living in NSW, I would suggest that you wait for 1 or 2 invitation rounds, see your trend. If not, then you can move to Victoria. So the second question from Fahad Raisad, that offshore production or plant engineer chances at 189 90 points and 190 95 superior English, 6 years experience, ages below 30, single chances. So Fahad, your occupation of plant and production engineer is open approximately in all the states like NSW, Victoria, and I believe in Western Australia as well. 90 points and 95 points are very good points to secure an invite. However, recently we have seen that they have not been inviting much of the offshore applicants, but when they do, you have a very high chance of securing an invitation. So I would suggest that yes, apply it in all possible states wherever it is possible, that such as NSW, Victoria, WA, and other states, and then you can see your chances. Oh, good. So second question is from Fahad, that if I lodge 189 visa from offshore as a single candidate and then during the visa grant waiting time, can I get married? What are the options then to get married? So, Fahad, if you get invited as a single, then you have to stay single until the grant of the visa because you have claimed the points as single. If you get married during the process, your points will be reduced and your points won't match the points that you were invited. So, this way, your visa can be refused. So, you can only get married once your visa will be approved. Second question from Shrestha. What is the chance for ICD business analyst at 90, that is 85 plus 5 points, superior English, working in the nominated field for last 1 year? Similarly, what is the chance for 491 pathway 2 at 100 points, living in NSW for the last 4 years for the same profile? So, Shrestha, yes, you have good chances, but I would still suggest that if you can increase your points from 90 to 95, if something is left, because I believe that if NATI or professional year, if something's missing, you can try to increase the points to 95, which can be a very good points to secure an invite for 190. However, for 491, you are at 100 points, which is a very good points and with superior English, which means that you have good chances of getting invited with that, because last year we saw that for 491 with superior English people did receive an invite. So you can take both chances, 190 and 491. Question from Fahad. For subclass 189, there are 50 production or plant engineers EOIs at 90 points, including me, but in previous two 189 rounds, less than 20 candidates were invited in my occupation. Chances in the next round. So, Fahad, generally 189 invitations are something on the basis of the date of effect, which means the oldest EOI is selected. So, which means that if your EOI was submitted before 1 year, you will be selected first, apart from the other applicants who submitted the EOIs afterwards. So buffer 189 points and the date of effect both matters, but I can say that in the next invitation rounds you might have a chance to secure an invite. Question from Rachna. I'm living offshore. I have lodged EOI for management consultant, and total points are 65 in EOI 189, 70 for 190. In March, 5 points will be added for experience, and sorry, yeah, 5 points will be added for experience. Am I likely to get invite? So Rachna, recently what we have seen that offshore applicants are not getting much prioritized as compared to the onshore applicants. So I would suggest that if you can try to increase your points as much as possible, because you're currently sitting at 65 for 189 and 70 for 190. So there are a lot of applicants at the same place as you. So I would suggest that if you can increase your points and apply for as many possible states where you are eligible, like where management consultant is possible, that can be done. And as you have this many years of experience, you can also think of an employer sponsorship pathway, because you have 3 years of experience and a skill assessment, then any employer can also directly sponsor you if that's possible. Question from Anish. Pharmacy technician, age 30, PT 20, study 15, okay, Victoria 190, working in a nominated occupation for, sorry, yeah, working in a nominated occupation with 50,000 annual salary. Is it a good idea to move to WA? So Anish, what's your total points? Yeah, so if I would suggest that if you have not been invited from Victoria in the last 4 rounds, then yes, you can move to Western Australia, because I have seen that Western Australia have been inviting people with pharmacy technician background. Just have a look at the last invitation round that was just yesterday that Western Australia had introduced. We can have a look at the points that were invited and decide whether it is worth moving right now to Western Australia or not. But yes, Victoria, WA, both are a very good state where you can secure an invite. My question from Manjot Singh. Chances for food technologist, 95 points is NSW, working in nominated field. Manjot, as food technologist is listed in the NSW list. So as NSW list is a shorter list this time, so whatever occupations are listed will have a very good chance of getting invited. So I would suggest that yes, you can stick for 1 or 2 rounds and see your chances of getting invited over here. Like 95 points are good, and we can see for few other rounds to get an invite. Question from Andre. Civil engineer living in Melbourne. Civil engineer living in Melbourne, not PT taken, but high chances to get 65 in PT. That will be 75 points in total. What chances for Victoria and NSW? Better to go for 491 than 190. My PR is with Aussizz Group. Okay, we have files. What are the chances for all good? So, Andre, for civil engineer, as I would say, if you have 75 points in total, then I would suggest that you go for 491 as compared to 190. See, in NSW, you can apply for both. So, I would suggest that you go ahead with both, but you can keep 491 as a priority because you have lesser points. But construction is in priority sector, so you might have good chances of getting invited. And also from here you can apply for Western Australia, so because they also have been prioritizing with construction sector, so if you get an invite over there you can move once you're invited. So next question is that occupation hotel or motel manager, current work motel manager in Lakes Entrance Victoria since September. What are my chances for invitation from Victoria? So if your employment, if your business is located in regional Victoria, then your chances are good for a hotel or motel manager because you have 85 points including the state. But I just need to make sure whether your business is located in one Melbourne or regional Victoria, because if it's in Melbourne the chances are not so high for 190, but if you ask me for 491 you have good chances because they are prioritizing hospitality industry. uh, Hello, what are the chances for motor mechanics general 189491 and 190? So, if you ask me for motor mechanics are listed for both the states, that is NSW, Victoria, even in Western Australia. And the chances of motor mechanic as it falls under the trade occupations are good. So, if you have like good points, if you can secure at least English superior, both states, Victoria and NSW, can give you an invitation. I'm working in ACT, completed masters in UC Act and living NSW. Am I eligible for 491? Sorry, I didn't get your question because you said that you're working in ACT and living in NSW. So if you're just asking about 491 NSW, no, you won't be eligible because you have to be working in NSW. You cannot work in ACT. So it has to be both. But if you go for pathway 2, yes, you are eligible because you're living in NSW. Oh, good. So the next question. Oh, good. So I have 90 points with superior English and have just a moment. Yep, I have 90 points with superior English and have filed an ROI in Victoria since 2023 December for program or project administrator. But have not received an invite, have 4 years experience in the field, currently not working. So I have not seen many invites to be honest for this occupation, that is program or project admin in Victoria. However, that state is better as compared to NSW and WA to secure you an invite for this occupation. However, I would suggest that if you can find an employer to sponsor you because you have 4 years of experience, that could also be an alternative pathway. Otherwise, you can try increasing your salary or increasing your points if you stay over here, because as you said you are not working, so Victoria will not give a priority. I have 80 points for 119 Menville. What are the chances? Sorry, I don't know what occupation you are referring to. Can you just let me know that? Okay, question from what about what about electrical engineers? 75 points with 4 years experience for 491. Sorry, just a moment. Okay, what about electrical engineers? 75 points with 4 years of experience for 491. What state do I have more chances? How much time it will take to get an invitation for private tutor? Okay, so now if we just go for electrical engineers is open for both NSW and Victoria. And for electrical engineers in NSW, I would suggest 85 points are still good. I won't say very high chances, but it would be better if you could try to increase your points to superior English or NATI, because NSW will give priority to those who have superior English and experience. But if you're looking for Victoria at 85 points, and if you can find any skill level job from 1 to 3, then I would suggest then Victoria is a good state, because if you cannot find an experience as an electrical engineer, still you can move to Victoria and work in any other field. How much time? Uh, yeah. So the questions, yeah, yes, because it's going up and down. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, guys. Yep.
So, should I read the question to you?
Yep.
How much time will it take to get invitation for private tutor with 90 points and 491?
So, regarding the occupation of private tutor, it's not a very good occupation to get an invite. We have not seen this occupation getting invited in NSW or WA, but I would suggest that Victoria is a state where you can expect an invitation under this occupation. If I would suggest that if your English is proficient, you can go for superior and you can look for any other job which is skill level 1 to 3, which can have a good chances of getting invited in Victoria. Now, this next question is okay. Hello, is it reasonable for someone studying electrical and electronics engineering in Darwin, electrical engineer with 75 points? So, from Darwin, it is better. Like if you study in NT, if you are a graduate from NT, and if you study completed 2 years from Darwin, then I would suggest it's a very good chances that you get invited through 190 in Darwin because they have a separate graduate stream. But if you have studied from any other state and then moving to Darwin, I would suggest only if you have an employment contract from there. Second question, electrical engineer with 75 points for 189 offshore. In which state I have maximum chances? What is the future of energy sector? So regarding the offshore applications, see they are not very consistent with inviting offshore applications. What we have seen with immigration is that there's always one big round for invitation where they just consider offshore applications. So maybe you just have to wait, increase your points and wait for that round so that once they start inviting offshore applications, you can have a chance because we have seen electrical engineer getting invited at even 65 points with an offshore application, but it was in 2022 and 2023. But after that, it's been quiet with the immigration, but there can be a big round anytime. So you just have to be ready and increase your points until then. Next question is can you explain about Dharma ID occupations? So, to be honest, Dharma is quite in detail to be explained right now. What you can do is you can book in a consultation with us and we can explain you the requirements as per your profile. So, the next question is why essay sending not invited to everyone? What kind of factors they depend on? And okay. Question from Amanpreet. Microbiologist working in NSW as a quality assurance from 3 years. Which state is good as NSW removed from NSW occupation? So, Amanpreet, I would suggest that you move to Victoria because Victoria is a state where we have at least seen invitations under the occupation of microbiologist, and you can find any skill level job. If you're not even finding a job as a microbiologist, even a cook or a chef would be fine. But Victoria can be a state that you can secure an invite because NSW will not change their list until the next financial year, hopefully. Now, the next question from Vinay is yeah, chances for mechanical engineers 100 points for 491 and 90 points for 190 Western Australia and 90 points for Victoria 190 and 189 85 points. Vinay, if you can just increase another 5 points because 189, I have seen that mechanical engineers are invited consistently for last two rounds at 90 points for 189. That can be a very good chance for you. Otherwise, mechanical 100 points and 90 points for 190 is a very good option as well in Victoria. So if you're not working, yes, the chances would be less, but if you're working in any field, the chances would be higher for you. Question from Jitendra is I have 70 points for 491 for computer network and systems engineer. Which state has more chances? Jitendra, to be honest, 70 points for 491 for computer network. I wouldn't suggest that 491 would NSW would be a good state on the pathway too. But if you can find a job on the pathway one, then NSW can be a good state for you to invite. Otherwise, moving to Victoria and finding a job in any other skill level would be a better option because 70 points are a little less, but you have to work on your points to get secure you an invite. Question from Taposh. I wanted to update you regarding a couple of traffic offenses and ask for your guidance. So Taposh, this is like an in detailed question regarding specifically regarding your profile. What you can do is you can email us and we can discuss this and have a consultation regarding
We
your
have a
question.
form.
Yeah. So sorry.
We have a form that we
Yeah. So after the session, we have a form where you can just drop in your question and then we'll get back to you because this is quite specific to your case. Question from Neil. Architectural draft person 70 plus 5 190 and 70 plus 15 85. EOI submission in December 23. Living in Western Australia. Any chances? Yes, Neil. Like Western Australia is giving priority to architectural background, like in building and construction sector. So yes, I would suggest you to live in Western Australia and continue living there because they give priority to those people who have submitted the AOI like as an older date, which means if you have submitted in December 23, which is a good date, like your application is older than all other applicants. So Western Australia is a good state for you to stay. Just try to increase your points and you can expect an invitation from there. Question from Eldos is I've graduated from Victoria but now living Brisbane. I am a mechanical engineer with 90 points for 189 and what are the possibilities of 189 and state nomination? Note that I'm not working as an engineer at the moment. So Eldos, if you're not working as an engineer at the moment and living in Brisbane, then why not move to Victoria because you're a graduated from Victoria. So as Victoria has opened the graduated stream, you have a very good chance that you get invited for 491 straight away. Apart from that, your points is 190 for 189, so you have good chances for the next invitation round as well for 189 because in the past two rounds we have seen mechanical engineers getting invited at 90. Question from Harpreet. I am on 491 visa. Do I need to complete my 6 months of visa or I can apply for 482 visa for myself and my family? Occupancy is accountant and how long is the processing for 482? So, Harpreet, if you're on a 491 visa already, I would suggest that you complete your 3 years of regional residency and then straight away apply for 191, which is a permanent resident application, rather than going on a 482. Because even if you go on a 482, you have to work with an employer for 2 years and then the employer sponsors you. It's better that you stick on 491 and complete the residency and apply for 191 later on. Question from Yatin. For Victoria ROI, do we need to put actual salary or estimated annual salary when working on part-time basis? So Yatin, you have to put an actual salary that you have been earning on a part-time basis. The calculator will calculate according to the full-time automatically when you put in the number of hours or the per hour rate. So they have like different inclusions and exclusions of the salary which can be calculated. So we can also assist you if you require. So that can be done for the Victoria ROI. Question from Andre regarding about the professional year. Can you give a brief explanation, please? I'm not sure if you can count with that point. So Andre, yes, professional year will give you an additional 5 points for engineering, IT, or accountant graduates. So you can contact us and we can give you in detail information about the admission criteria for PY. Aussizz Group, is there any chance for mechanical engineers in Victoria with 80 points? So I would suggest that if you're sitting at 80 points, you can try for 491 Victoria as compared to 190 because Victoria, I've seen mechanical engineers getting invited at 85 points, but they were also earning there. Question from Syed, motor mechanic NSW 190 80 points. What are the chances? Syed, you have good chances of getting invited, but we just have to wait for the few more rounds of NSW to see their trend, like what occupations they are inviting. But as the list is short, I believe that whatever is mentioned in the list, they would like to give an invitation to them. So if you are at 80 points, but if you are at proficient English, just target for superior and wait for the invitation. Question from Lahini. I'm living in Victoria. Currently, my student visa has been refused under GT. I'm completing my civil engineering draft person advanced diploma. I'm planning to get my skill assessment. That will that be an issue at AAT? So that won't be an issue in AAT because you're just completing your skill assessment, which is irrelevant to your current AAT process, which is going on. And you're working as a customer relation consultant. I got a partner with competent English but not skilled. Do you think there would be a chance? So yes, you have a good chance of getting invited, but first just get the skill assessment done, see what points you are sitting at, try for superior English, and then we can look for which state is better. But yes, skill assessment will not be affected with your refusal of the visa. Now, question from Dhaval. I studying Masters in Civil Engineering in Perth, want to do skill assessment. I have experience 2.5 years in India, so what are the chances? So definitely, I would suggest that you go ahead with the skill assessment as a civil engineer. You also have 2.5 years of experience, and if it relates to site engineer, draftsman, or technician, we can also get it assessed under that occupation. So you have good chances of getting invited in WA because they are prioritizing people with construction sector. Any chances for HR advisors with 70 points offshore? Not seeing any invitations since few months. Also, they have not included this occupation in NSW list. So we have not seen many of the invitations under this occupation since a long time. NSW, yes, it's not inviting, and NSW does not have HR advisor in their list. Victoria also have not seen many invites under this occupation. I would suggest that yes, you can just, if you're an offshore applicant, you can just wait for an invite, try to increase points, or second, if you can find an employer to sponsor you, that can be an option, or you can just look for any other occupation that can also give you a second backup option for you to come to Australia. Now, question from
Okay, I have few questions. What are
Yeah.
the chances of getting invitation of 491 at 70 points as industrial pharmacist in Western Australia onshore?
So Western Australia is giving industrial pharmacies is listed under Schedule 1. So they are giving priority to those occupations. So yes, you might have a chance to get invited in Western Australia, but just 70 points. I would suggest that you can just try to increase it with English or other sources like CCL examination or experience. But yes, a good chance for you to get an invite.
The second question is, if I apply for visa extension, meanwhile I am finishing my study, will I get the student visa?
So this is something like we'll have to look at your profile, like which course you have applied for and what was your background. But if you have maintained the same level and if you have applied for the course which just to continue the course, then it should be fine. It shouldn't be an issue for your visa to be refused, but obviously you can let us know in detail what your profile is.
I have 80 points and have applied for HR advisor offshore. What chances do I have?
So, as I just mentioned regarding the HR advisor, that we have not seen much of the invitations under this occupation. NSW has removed this occupation from the list, and Victoria not seen many invites through Victoria as well, because as you are offshore, they are only giving priority to teaching or other hospitality sectors. So, I would suggest that if not HR advisor, you can go for recruitment consultant. That is another option as well for other occupation for getting you an invite in other states where recruitment consultant is also open.
So Prince says that he's done his computer science engineering in BTech, and he wants to understand in what occupations this skill assessment will be done.
So, Prince, you have done computer science engineering and BTech. So, as it is an engineering degree, we can try to get your skill assessment done through engineering technologies or engineering professions if you don't have experience. But if you have experience in IT or any other sector, we can also look for ICT domain side. But yes, we can like assist you to get your skill assessment on the basis of your qualification without experience.
The next question is, what are the chances of getting invited with 75 points as a construction project engineer in NSW and other states?
So construction project engineer is a very good occupation, as I just mentioned that all the states are giving priority to those people who are under construction sector. But yes, 70 points, I would suggest then you can target 491. But if you want to get 189, 190, you can try increasing your points and securing that place.
Okay, Mathili asks, as Councillor NEC is no longer on the list, do you think moving to regional NSW and applying for 491 pathway be a good promising option?
Yes, it will be a good promising option because you know that after 6 months of working with an employer, you are applying for a direct application. Then you don't have to wait for the invitation round to happen. You just have to apply for the application, and NSW will assess your application and see if you meet the eligibility. Yes, then you will be invited straight away.
NV asks, why offshore PR invitations are less in all states and also in SC 19189? What are the chances for electrical engineer at 75 points with renewable energy background?
Oh, good. So, with the renewable energy background, like electrical engineers, I would suggest that as an offshore applicant, try to increase your points first of all. I can understand everyone saying the same thing, but the first thing is that we have seen the last invite for offshore applicant at 65 point. That was in 22-23. But after that, there was a long gap that they didn't invite any of the offshore applicants. So now once they do, there will already be a lot of competition. So it's better to increase your points, collect your experience. If you find an employer, look for sponsorship. Otherwise, just wait for the big round that will happen and apply for as many states as possible.
Aman asks, I have applied 500 in September. What is the processing time for that and how soon will I get the visa?
So as you have applied for student visa in September, see if your nationality is from any of the Asian countries, it's taking around 6 to 7 months. But if your nationality is from America or UK or any other such countries, then it's very quick for them. But you get a bridging visa to stay here. So
In Roops 18 asks, what are the chances to get invitation for ICT business analyst occupation with 75 points? What should be the score target? How much time will it take to receive invitation?
in NSW?
Yes, not that the location
Okay.
is not mentioned.
Oh, good. See, ICT business analyst at 75, there's already a lot of competition. So, first of all, I would say that try for as many other occupations if you can, like systems analyst, project manager, whichever is possible on the basis of your qualification. And then we target other states as well. Like, for example, Victoria, yes, they give invite at 85, but with NSW, we have seen that they are inviting above 90, 95. So, if you want to stay in NSW, try to increase points. Otherwise, go for regional 491 or Victoria.
So another question says metal fabricator 75 points for 190 visa. The candidate is from offshore.
Okay. So as metal fabricator comes under the trade occupation list, so yes, it's a good chances of getting invited because department is giving priority to people who are under trade occupations and under the construction sector. Then yes, you have good chances. You just have to wait for the next round, and until then, just try to increase your points.
Uh, Dipanshu asks how many points we need to get 491 in regional area in IT.
In regional area in IT, like, are you working, Dipanshu? Because if you're working and if you're going under pathway 1, points really doesn't matter. But if you're going for pathway 2 or 3, then yes, you require points higher with superior English. Then only NSW will be considering because they only have 2,000 seats for 491.
So the same question for the construction project manager. He asks, what range for invitation in NSW for construction project manager?
What range of invitations?
Yes.
So see, NSW has just released one invitation round yet. We are yet to receive other invitation round and see the trend, like what occupations are getting invited. But yes, I believe that as they have listed construction sectors, like all of the occupations related to construction in the list, which means they really want to invite them because there is a shortage in NSW.
Okay, so I think we can take these
Yes.
questions as well.
So question from Komal, skills assessment point for chemistry technician. So Komal, I didn't get your questions exactly. Like, do you need an assistance for skill assessment? Then yes, we can help you. Question from Rachna. I'm providing consulting services to hospital and healthcare providers, and I have MBA in healthcare management. Will I get additional preference? So Rachna, generally department invites you on the basis of occupation. So it doesn't matter where you work right now. The occupation that they see, for example, if your occupation is nurse, you'll get invite even without the experience. So first we need to see what occupation you can apply for, and we can try to see which occupation would be much priority sector, and then we can apply under that. Rachna, I'm living offshore, have lodged EOF for management consultant. So yes, I have already answered your question, Rachna. But if you have any further queries, you can always send us your form after the session, which is going to be passed on. Sahil, I have 80 points for 491 NSW under pathway 2. Any chance for community worker? Can I move to Victoria for an earlier invite, or NSW is better? So Sahil, we can have a look at the trend which is going for community worker in Victoria. Like, if you can find a job in Victoria, then yes, it is, like, I would say then you move to Victoria. Otherwise, just stay in NSW. See the trend of NSW round, because we did receive a 190 invite at 85 points for community worker. So we are yet to receive the 491 invitation. So that is something that we can wait on. Question from Eldos. Does Victorian graduates need to be recent graduates, as I graduated in 2020 and a job in the field is required? So, Eldos, we can check the recent graduate requirement of Victoria, because in NSW it's in last 2 years. But we can check with the graduation in the Victoria because they didn't said anything regarding, but we can check and get back to you regarding that.
one more question. If I'm working with regional Victoria in my nominated field, which is hotel or motel manager, is 85,000 annual salary enough to get an invite for 491?
With what points was it?
The points are not mentioned.
Okay, the points. So see, I did receive a invitation for one of my client as a hotel motel manager with a salary of 75,000, but the points was at 90. So yes, you have a chance to get an invite, but obviously we need to know what points you are sitting on. But if you are not at 90, you can try to reach that. But 85 to 90 would be a good points for you to secure an invite. Question from just a moment. Okay, question from Taposh. I've already answered.
Do you mind if you want to answer this?
Yep.
So Dishant Bhalla asks, what about possibilities for PR in agriculture? I have valid skill assessment and I am in South Australia on student visa.
You're in South Australian student visa and have a skill assessment as an agriculture
Yes.
consultant. So see, South Australia will only be giving you invite after you live there for 1 year and work in the nominated occupation for 6 months. But if you look for other states like Victoria and NSW, this occupation is open and it has good chances of getting an invitation. So Victoria, they have been already given invitation. We can have a look at the trend, but NSW has this occupation listed, so we can have a look at the NSW occupation as well. But just complete your studies because you're still on a student visa, and we can see which pathways would be better for you. Question from Avinash, electronics engineer with no experience but having 100 points for 491 WA with superior English, but currently living in NSW. Any chance of 491? So, Avinash, as you are currently living in NSW and have superior English, I believe you have applied for both NSW and WA. You have good chances of getting invite as under NSW because you are having a superior English and also at 100 points. So maybe we can wait for the next invitation round that can happen with NSW first, and then we can decide whether moving to Western Australia would be a good option or not. Question from Rafin. What is the prospect of medical biotechnology? Currently, I'm studying Master of Medical Biotechnology and have more than 2 years of experience working as a microbiologist in pharmaceutical companies. So, Rafin, I believe as you're studying Masters of Biotechnology, you might have studied Bachelor's in Biotech as well. So, as you have 2 years of experience, we can apply for the skill assessment right now itself. And once we have the skill assessment, then we can try your possibilities of applying in Victoria because NSW has not listed this occupation. Question from Arafat. Any chance WA will invite non-priority this financial year? Like accounting with 100 points for accounting. Arafat, I would suggest that if you are staying there since a very long time, because WA is considering applicants with older EOI date as well. So if you're staying there for a longer time, then yes, you have good chances of getting invited because there was a time they invited management accounting accountants at 95 points, 100 points. So right now we need to look, if you have time on your visa, then we can look for WA rounds for the next 2 rounds. Otherwise, we can look for other options such as Victoria or NSW regional. Question from Asmila, what about the pharmacy technician in NSW with 75 points for 190? Ashmila, I believe that 75 points for 190 would be like there would be a lot of competition with 190 at that time. So I would suggest that you also apply for 491 along with 190. And if you can find a job in regional pathway 1, that would be a best way out to secure you an invite for 491. Question from Anjali, as accounting has been removed from 190 and 491, can employer can sponsor you as living in NSW? So Anjali, this list is just for NSW, not for employer sponsorship 482 186. So the list for federal list, you are anyways eligible for 190, 491 or 482 186 as per them. It's just NSW has their own specific list which does not make you eligible, but your employer can easily sponsor you for 482 or 186 if you have experience. Question from
Okay,
Yeah.
Mima, you can take my question. I have submitted medical administrator EOI for 491 in Western Australia, NSW, and VIC. What are my chances as an offshore applicant in 85 points?
So medical administrator, as long as it is in a medical field, then yes, you have good chances of getting invited. But yes, we have not seen many of the invitations for the offshore applicants since a long time. I know that is why you're feeling frustrated with that thing. But yes, there will be a big round soon for the offshore applicants, and then you can expect an invitation. Just try increasing the points if you can, or just find an employer, because we can see that employers are being sponsoring the people with medical background. Yeah.
One more question. What are the chances for invite in 491 and 190 for Western Australia in program or project administrator?
So I've not seen much of the invitations under this occupation from Western Australia, because they are giving priority to those under Schedule 1 graduates and construction, and also they have only 5,000 seats. So I would say not very high hopes, but obviously it's not impossible. But just open a backup plan as well along with your current occupation.
I have 80 points, construction project manager. What are my chances in Southern Australia?
80 points with construction project manager, very good chances, because even SA is giving priority to construction sector. So I believe you might have just submitted the ROI, but if you're not invited yet, just try to increase the points or try for Western Australia from there, because you are still eligible to do that.
Questions?
Okay, question from Rochelle. What are the chances for motor mechanic general 80 points for 491 living in regional Victoria, working in nominated occupation? So, Rochelle, you have very good chances of getting invited because you're at 80 points, also working in the nominated occupation. So, you can see, like, if you're still not getting invited from Victoria, you can try increasing the points. But yes, the place where you are right now would be the best to get you an invite currently with the current scenario. Question from Sahil. Okay, that's done.
Okay, Dhruv asks, I'm finishing my ECT next year. What are my chances for 189 or 190?
So ECT, like early childhood teacher, is a very good occupation for the people to get an invitation. So right now with the points, I would say that 85 points is the current points that is going on with the invitation for ECT. So yes, you can try increasing your points and keep your points ready for the next financial year when you complete the course. But yes, a very good occupation to secure your invitation.
Okay.
Question, yeah.
Kalash asks, offshore electrical engineer, 75 points, 491 chances for NSW.
Offshore applicant at.
Offshore applicant, electrical engineer, 75 points, 491 chance. Any chances for 491?
So see again, offshore applicant 75 points. There is a lot of competition again since the last round, which happened in 22-23 for offshore applicants. So just increase the points. Yes, right now they are not being very actively inviting offshore applicants, but when they do, you should be just ready with the points that you have.
Jenny asks, for clinical coder, is there an invitation?
So, Jenny, we need to check whether the clinical coder is in the list of NSW or not. But if it's on the list of NSW, you have good chances because it falls under the medical field. Otherwise, Victoria would be a very good state for you to get an invite. Question from Sahil. I have 80 points for 491 in NSW under pathway 2.
I think we've done that.
Yeah. Question from Gurveer, 90 points, welfare worker, Victoria 190, PT 9 each, salary 75,000, ROI filed, masters in social work, chances for invite. So Gurveer, as you're working with a salary of 75,000 with 90 points at welfare worker, you have good chances of getting in Victoria. So just wait for the next invitation rounds, then you can secure an invitation in Victoria. Question from Shehryar. Resident 80 points civil engineering draft person for 491. What are the chances for the next round? So, Shehryar, if you're living in NSW, you have good chances of getting invited for 491 if you're working in your nominated field. If not, you can try for Western Australia as well. But both states, Western Australia and NSW, both are good for you to secure an invite as a civil engineering draft person. And you can see in the last 189 round, this occupation was invited at 75. So if you want to target that, then you can try to increase your points. So okay, question from Tharindu, 491 with 90 points, living in Western Australia as a civil engineering technician. How are my chances? Tharindu, very good chances of getting an invite because Western Australia is prioritizing construction sector. So just stay there. 90 points is as well good for 491. But if you can still have a bandwidth to increase it, try increasing it. But Western Australia is a good state for you to get an invite. Question from Manoj: what would be the chances for network administrator for NSW 190 with 100 points, including state and 2 years onshore experience? Manoj, very good chances of getting you an invite in NSW at this points. I would suggest you also apply in other occupations, which is on the basis of network admin under the same group, like network analyst or network engineer. But you have good chances of getting an invite. Question from Rishav. I have moved to Tasmania last week. I'm an IT support specialist, also holding a positive skill assessment with 2 years working in the industry. Also, I have 75 points and I've left 1 year left in 48485. Can you please suggest me any pathway I can choose for in Tasmania? So, Rishabh, Tasmania works differently. They have different streams where they give an invitation, but I would suggest that as you have 1 year left on your 485, you can also try studying something on your 485 so that you fall under the graduate stream of 491 along with the current experience which you have. So you can contact us and we can guide you with your pathway with Tasmania.
I think you should take this question. It's an interesting one. For NSW 491 currently having 90 points, what is the chance for system analyst for invitation?
So systems analyst at 90 points. So if you're not working in your nominated occupation, then I would suggest that less chances of getting invited with 190. But yes, 491 you will be having good chances. But if you're still focusing on 190, then you can try increasing the points. Otherwise, apply in other occupation code as well, such as business analyst or project manager. But still, we need to wait for the few more rounds of NSW to see the trends, like whether they are inviting just with the people with experience or without that as well.
So Sukh here asks, I'm doing Master of IT, but my background isn't in IT. Can you suggest me course that would help me with my PR?
So if you're studying Masters of IT and if you think that you cannot get experience in IT in future, then I would suggest that if you are on a 485, then we can suggest you a few other courses which are good for permanent residency, such as teaching, construction, social worker, whichever you are interested to work and get experience. But yes, there are other courses which can help you to secure your PR easily along with your IT occupation.
Cindy asks, what about nutritionists in NSW?
So, nutritionist in NSW, need to check whether the occupation is open. And if it is open, then yes, it's the chances would be good with NSW with nutritionist. If not, you can look for pathway one under regional 491. Otherwise, Victoria is also a good option for you to get the nutritionist. So, guys, I'm sorry if I'm not answered any of your questions because there's been a lot of questions that are still remaining. But what you can do if your questions are unanswered, there will be a form which will be passed on after the session is over. You can just fill in, and we get back to you with the queries which you have, and you can just visit our nearest Aussizz branch to have a consultation and clear out your PR pathway with us. So, thank you for joining us. And this is the session that we are arranging for you guys because this is the time where all the states are open. So, this is the time that you need to decide your PR pathway and migration plan for your journey. Thank you, guys. Have a nice day.
Thank you so much, Sanya, for your valuable session. I would like to inform you guys that we would be having one more session like this on 22nd of October. It would be regarding student visa and 485 visa. It will be hosted by Mr. Hardik Patel, who is a vastly experienced migration agent. I have dropped the links to register for the session as well. Please register. It's a free session. Thank you so much for